Welcome to Quick 3D Tutorials. In the past video we have shown you how to set up Tileable texture inside the Zbrush, and that is the file we have used. And as you see here, so that is the camera. We need to focus on the camera, make sure. And now we want to show you in this video how to painting a Tileable texture. So before we get to it, actually we're looking to the geometry, which is the Tileable's plane. Make sure you have enough level to get all the detail you want, because as higher level you have, actually your high resolution texture will be supported. As less you have, it is not supported. So make sure you have not smooth on it, and if you wanted more detail, of course you can add this to it. That is the first thing we need, and make sure never use this in this case. With the painting you can, but I recommend it to not use this. So now we want to go ahead and painting Tileable texture. But before we go to the Tileable texture painting, there are another thing I will just show you this. If you have a Tileable texture already, like wood, wall or whatever, and you want to apply it to be Tileable, you cannot apply it directly inside the Zbrush, so you need to use the Photoshop to do this. I will also explain why. So here we are inside Photoshop and we have a Tileable texture, but any Tileable texture you need to check the size. It is 4K, 1K, 2K and so on. So make sure the Tileable texture, go to the image size and check it. In this case I want it to be 1024. Of course if you have less resolution like 512 or something like this, you can use it. It is not a big problem. So in this case the size is not correct, so 1024 is the correct size. Press OK on it, and now we're having it. So to using it as the texture inside the Photoshop, I need to go to the edit and define the pattern. So by this way I give it any name. So this one is ready to be used. So we just close this as for now, and now I need to create a new file. It is the size of the Zbrush I have created. There was 1K, so I need to use 1024 by 1024. So now we're having it, and just create one layer, new layer, put any color on it and double click on it, go to the pattern overlay, go to something called inside this you need to choose your pattern. So here it is 100. If I have using 512 texture, I need to put it to be 200 if I want to be exactly. So let's see, I want to have more or less. So if you just sliding this one by this way, you're going to destroy basically the Tileable. You think, okay, I cannot see any Tileable seam, it happened. That is right, but that one is not Tileable if you want to use this as texture and Tileable this inside the 3D application. So if you want to be Tileable and make it smaller or bigger, the thing is, if it is 100, you need to divide this by 2, you will get more, and divide 50 by 2, it is 25, and so on. But the important thing here in Photoshop, if we think 25 divided by 2, it is 12.5, and you cannot type 12.5. As you can see now, we have getting some of part is not even. So make sure in the Photoshop is not supported. So the next thing is also when it is 100, you can also make it bigger. Multiply this by 2 is 200 and 400 and so on. So in this case we just make it to be 100. And if you have other texture, it is full Tileable you want to add, of course you can use Photoshop layer system to adding it, and when you are done you can just go to save this as JPEG or TIFF file or other things. I'm calling it inside here for test. So now we have created our Tileable texture. So before anything painting and so on, it is very important you adding your tileable texture first on it, and after it you can paint on it. So now we want to add this. Go to the texture map, choose the import and find your texture. I'm going to make the material to be white so we can see it better. So now we have applied this, but that is not enough, because if I check it on and off, you can see my plane is still white. So make sure they are on, and to putting it to be on the object, of course you need to check the resolution. Now I have high resolution, so I will get the same resolution of this image. If it was less, it will give you low resolution. And after this, we need to go to something called Polypainting. We should have not layer here. Okay, so go to the Polypainting here, turn this on, and go to something inside the brush, which is the standard brush. Turn the Z add off and RGB, which is the color information, and just press Polypaint from the texture. By this way, if we're going to turn it on and off, it will actually, it has been filled inside this tileable texture. So this tileable texture has been added correctly. The other way I can use, I will just explain it later, but that is the first things. So that is the first things, and now we are ready to create our tileable texture. So after this, we can use the layer system. So we just create a new layer. We can choose the brush we want. So in this case, just the standard. Make sure you have RGB on and turn off the other. Of course, you can turn it on if you want to modify in the same time by painting. But in this case, we're just focusing on the painting. So after this, make sure also you have the RAM mode to be 1, and any brush you're going to change, double check the RAM mode because it will go. And from here you can just pick up, I don't know, any color you want and just paint on it. So as you can see, it's full tileable. That is the first one. The second one, you can create your alpha. From here you can choose some things, and you can also of course creating your custom alpha brush inside Zbrush or Photoshop, and just use this. So I just make it bigger so you can see it be repeating, and that is also a different type of these we can use, or this one which is the dog, so something here or here. So you can see every of these one is full tileable. And turn this off. If you want to use the texture, let's see this texture, it is also possible to do this. So I can just paint it over here. You can see everything work fine. So maybe I just put one here. Okay, maybe a little bit smaller. Okay. So now the other thing we can also use to painting tileable inside the tileable texture is actually something called spotlight. So if I just using the same texture here or another texture, but in this case this one, just adding the spotlight, press high and just zoom it in or out, moving it in this direction, let's see, and opacity to be 100 and radius of the spotlight radius something like this. Here we go, and press Z. So actually when I want to use the spotlight, it will not support tileable texture anymore. So here it should actually, when I paint here, I should get the half of this over here. But see, when I do this, I do painting here, but nothing will happen in the other direction. So the spotlight will not work if you have decided to using it for the tileable. So if you want to use the spotlight, the only area is inside the tileable texture, or kind of like this area, not outside or between of the texture. Otherwise it will not work. And the other thing I will also show you, if you're holding shift and drag on this, you can choose the tileable here in the texture, but again it would not be work it exactly like Photoshop we have did it. You need to just pressing it here and make sure not make it a lot of, and that is very hard to make it. So Photoshop is easier to adding the tileable texture on it. And the last thing, just a very quick review how it looks. Grab the dog and from here spotlight, turn it off, and using the shift and holding it so you can see everything is full tileable. So that was a very quick review of it, how we can painting in tileable texture. And last thing, of course, anytime you can create another layer and just do any painting you like, and if you want go back to the same layer, you need to select it, and you need actually, you can see it's saying it is not active because you need to press to the record and it will activate this once again. So that was just a very quick review how we can painting tileable texture inside the ZBrush. In the next video we're going to talking about nano meshes, and after this we're talking about how to use the insert mesh brush. Thanks for watching.